Hey everyone, Brick City Brown Chick coming at you with another episode. And today marks the last time I will be talking about the issues that face the United States, at least on a regular basis. I said in a video, I think last week or maybe the week before now, the weeks are starting to run together, that I'm really sick and tired of talking about the insanity that America has become, and that I just want out, and I want this channel to go back to its original function, which was about life lessons and things I've learned along the way that have helped me. And I tell these stories in hopes that it will help other people. But I am at the point where I just cannot talk about America anymore. So today will be the last regular video on that topic. I am going to talk about the recently ended shutdown of the United States government and the absolute epic chaos that ensued. The federal government has been shut down for more than a month. I have several friends who are federal employees who were not working, not getting a paycheck, had no income, and were super angry and frustrated. And I totally get all that. And there are now people that are super angry and frustrated with Chuck Schumer and the Democrats for, the word I keep hearing is caving to the Republicans without getting anything in return. And on top of all of that, what they signed is called a CR, a continuing resolution. And what that means is they're going to fund the government temporarily while they fight it out behind the scenes about the things they're fighting about. So this CR will only be good until January 30th. Now, what does that mean? That means if they do not, the two sides do not come to an agreement between now and January 30th, we will be right back here with another government shutdown. The one that just ended is the longest one in American history. And for some reason, the president seems very proud of that, which is super disturbing among the other disturbing things that he does. However, he was not the person I found most disturbing in this process. It wasn't him. It wasn't the Republicans in Congress, cowards that they are. It wasn't the Democrats, who some days seem to just be flailing around because they have no idea how they're going to deal with these people. It was, in fact, MAGA and the people who think this president is the second coming of Jesus, which is the most offensive thing I have ever heard, but nonetheless. There were so many videos on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube of MAGA people celebrating people being thrown off SNAP or not receiving their SNAP benefits to feed themselves and their children. And the argument these people like to make is they like to police people who are on SNAP. In other words, they want to talk about, oh, they buy cookies or, oh, they buy soda, and you shouldn't be able to buy these with government benefits. If the government says, yes, this is SNAP eligible, or WIC, Women and Children, the infancy program, if the government says you can use these funds to buy these products, it is none of your business what people buy and what people eat. And the argument they always want to make is, well, my tax dollars go for this. And my tax dollars, a lot of them, go toward the schools in the county and the state I'm in. I don't have any children. Never did, never will. But I'm not running around screaming about my tax money being used to educate these kids when I don't have any kids. It's a stupid argument. Tax money goes to fund the government. You can't run a government with no money. That's just facts. Americans are super spoiled by our tax system because we can all pay at the end of the year if we choose to. We can find loopholes and scapegoats so that we don't have to pay as much tax as we should pay. If you want to see a messed up tax system, go to any one of several European countries. I'll just take France as an example because I had a high school friend who moved there. In France, they take 60% of your paycheck off the top for taxes. What do I mean by off the top? I mean, you never see that money. They take it out of your paycheck before you even get it. So Americans need to get really real and stop being such whiny babies about taxes. That's number one. Number two, seeing these videos of MAGA people celebrate the fact that poor people will not be able to feed themselves or their families was disgusting and gross. And long after this president is gone, this country is going to have to deal with the lack of empathy he has unleashed. The Republican Party is now openly saying that empathy is bad and that it makes people weak, especially men, and that you shouldn't have empathy for people who are in tough situations because if they got themselves into it, they ought to be able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and get themselves out. It's disgusting. And what's most disgusting is that most of these people call themselves Christians. They have no idea what the word actually means. The word Christian means Christ-like, like Christ. There is nothing Christian about taping yourself in a Costco celebrating the fact that there are no lines because the poor people and the people on Social Security and all the other people who get government benefits aren't there because they don't have their money. People really need to think about what kind of people they want to be. If you are a Christian person, and you believe in an afterlife, and you believe that when you die, your soul will move on to somewhere else. If you do things like celebrate poor people not getting food, where do you think your soul's gonna end up exactly? It honestly doesn't matter that you go to church every Sunday and listen to your priest or your pastor or your preacher preach the word of God because you don't understand what the word of God is. If you are disgusting enough and trifling enough to celebrate people not having food, you need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and do some repenting. Something that a lot of these MAGA types don't believe in. They think because the president never apologizes for anything he does, right, wrong, and different, he just does not apologize, that they can also go through life not apologizing. And now walking out in public and calling people the N-word, except using the actual word, which I will not do, and just being terrible human beings. I honestly can't say when America became this disgusting, hateful, nasty place. I can't pinpoint a point in time for you, but we are here. This is who we now are. And those of us who are not those people have to deal with those people every single day. It's draining, it's exhausting, and it is the ultimate in disheartening. So while everybody, I guess the word isn't celebrates, but moves forward with the government being open, remember this point in time and how gleefully people celebrated people not having food or clothing or shelter or food for their pets or anything else. And ask yourself, if we're back here again in 2.5 months, what's going to be the next thing that people celebrate and think is a great thing? What new rights and privileges and survival skills will people look at and say, those people didn't deserve to have that anyway, so I have no sympathy and I have no empathy? Understand that this is where we are, this is who we are, and those of us who are not are freaking exhausted. I want to thank everybody for listening this week. If you are new to this podcast, there is a subscribe button under my head somewhere. Please subscribe. If this is content you think your family and friends would enjoy, please pass it on. And I will see you all again next week. Take care.